And welcome to Doc Success Formula, solutions to personal, professional, and relationship puzzles. Life is a puzzle with many solutions. Together, let's discover your solution to success. Hello, 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 everyone. Here we are. Welcome to Doc Success Formula, solutions to professional, personal, and relationship
The recording
puzzles.
has started.
Hello, and welcome, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in to Doc Success Formula. We have tonight our special guest, Dr. Albert Chester II. And before I introduce him and let him talk about himself a little bit, I'm going to read his bio. Dr. Albert Chester II is a pharmacist, entrepreneur, educator, and candidate to become the next United States Representative of Florida's 5th Congressional District. Albert is a native of Jacksonville, Florida. He is a proud graduate of the Episcopal School of Jacksonville and Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Dr. Chester sits on numerous boards, including the Johnson Family YMCA, Edward Waters College Athletic Advisory Board, and the American Heart Association Community Health Board. In February of 2019, he announced his candidacy. Albert was motivated and convicted to seek this office after seeing firsthand how the people in the district were suffering with seemingly no solutions and no way out. As the owner and instructor of the Capstone Institute, a post-secondary career school, he was able to not only fill a void in the community by helping people obtain careers to earn solid wages, but he was also able to see other problems that he could potentially solve. After receiving numerous awards and recognition for his work, he used the proceeds to reinvest in the community and open Newtown Pharmacy. In less than a year, the pharmacy was serving over 1,000 customers. During this time, Albert was able to get a closer look at how the people in the district were living because he would deliver medication to their homes. The issues that the people in Jacksonville and the entire 5th Congressional District deal with are echoed throughout the country. Improving health care has been a hot topic for years, but oddly enough, the people talking about it were only on the receiving end of the health care cascade. Who better to fight for health care reform than someone that has seen the system from all sides? Who better to fight to improve our educational system than an educator? Who better to stand up for small business owners and entrepreneurs than a small business owner? Who better to represent the underrepresented than someone that has embraced the sick, sat in the rat-infested homes with leaking roofs, walked through the dilapidated neighborhoods, and sat in the community meetings? Albert Chester II is the person that can say, I have done those things. Albert Chester II is married to Dr. Melissa Noland-Chester, and they have two sons, Aiden and Alex. That was just a brief bio, Christian guys, believe it or not. And so before he starts talking about his solutions to personal, professional, and relationship puzzles, I want to ask Dr. Chester, is there anything else that you would like to add that I didn't cover?
No, it seems like you summed it all up. 34 years of being quite busy. On the person you covered.
Well, two things that I know that was not in your bio is that he actually played football at Florida A&M University. He was actually a starting quarterback. And he also pledged a fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, while majoring in pharmacy. And so those are two things that were not in the bio that I happen to know about Dr. Chester because, again, Dr. Chester is, as most of us know, my husband. So with you doing those three things, you were a pharmacy major, you were playing football as a starting quarterback, and you pledged Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. Most people during that time period of their life have difficulty accomplishing one of those things. How were you able to accomplish all three of those simultaneously?
Any success fighter you try to be a person the Lord has saved my life.
And when you say training and upbringing, can you just elaborate on that a little bit? I mean, what does that look like for you? What is that? What are some components to that? What are some characteristics that were instilled in you?
Well, my father's side, he would always say, you control what you can control. You can control being organized. You can control time management. That was something that was always drilled into me. You can't control being, you're 6'5" and you want to play football. You can't control it. You're not the smartest, but you can control being organized. You can control being, manage your time. You can control the amount of effort that you put in. And that was just something that was always present, especially in my spirit. As far as my mom goes, she was always at fuel to go on. She always had those kind of ideas no matter what. So whenever things would get difficult or kind of hard, I could always hear her saying, "Son, you can do this. Son, you're incredible. Son, you're awesome." And it wasn't, in a way that everybody else was not. That was that positive motivation that was always instilled that she brought to the table. Really, 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 really helped me.
Okay, well, so mother and father, any other family members that had an intricate part or integral part in that upbringing? I know, we've had conversations. You've talked a lot about your great aunt, um, Aunt Archie. If you like to, how did she impact and influence your upbringing?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, I don't mean to cut anybody out because it truly was a village that raised me and it allowed me to see things from different perspectives. It allowed me to see a similar message from different folks. You hear the same thing over and over, and then you speak it and it makes sense because from Coach Henry Brown in Jacksonville to coaches in high school and even in my family from all the uncles and the aunts and as well as the grandparents that always really took out time with me to really explain things to me. Being respectful and being receptive was very, very key. So my aunt, she definitely was one of those rocks that was in my foundation, as well as my paternal grandmother and of course my maternal grandmother still with me as well. So those three women really, really implanted a spirit in me and gave me some wisdom that took me beyond my years. And I will always be eternally grateful for those women that influenced my life.
Thank you for that. So many people don't have that village, don't have that village aspect to help develop them as individuals. And you are such a lucky individual to have experienced that as your upbringing. Like we said, the name of the show is the success formula. And one thing that we always say is that success is a puzzle with many solutions, and everyone's solution to success is different. And so there you are talking about, those first innate characteristics that you possess, and you talk about the fact that, you had a village. And, when it comes to myself, I can say that I didn't have that. I didn't have that aspect. I didn't, I didn't meet my maternal grandmother because she passed away when I was 2 months old. Domestic violence. Her boyfriend actually murdered her. I did not meet my dad's mother, my paternal grandmother, until I was mid 30s. And so you're talking about I've just been knowing her just a little over 10 years. I didn't know any one of my grandfathers. And so, you know, but again, still was able to develop some of those characteristics, those traits that you mentioned, but just a different path to how I learned those things. And so, just uh, one point as to how when we talk about, there's a different puzzle for everyone's success. And so, just kudos to your village and to your family for making sure that you became that you have a long way to go. We know that you are quite a young man. And how old are you, Dr. Chester? No, but for the audience, let them know how old you are.
I'm 30. I'm 34.
So at 34 years young, you have already accomplished many things in your life. So we already talked about the fact that you obtained a pharmacy degree at Florida A&M University. You also were a starting quarterback at Florida A&M University. You played for fraternity, but upon leaving college, you worked for Walgreens for 10 years. During that 10 years, you were a pharmacy manager, and that led you, after 10 years, to wanting to open up your own pharmacy. So you opened up your own pharmacy, Newtown Pharmacy. You held on to that pharmacy for a year before Walgreens bought you out. Congratulations on that. And you also opened up your own school. So while working in pharmacy, I remember you saying that, having those interns come in and seeing them ill prepared made you want to open up a pharmacy technician school. And so you still have the Capstone Institute, which trains pharmacy technicians. And you're just 34 years old. And so, again, I just remember being 34 and still trying to find my way with a lot of things. I had already been, just like yourself, an entrepreneur, but the level at which you've become an entrepreneur, just want to tell you kudos for that. And again, just talk about how those puzzles, man, there's so many different levels to success. And here you are accomplishing those things. And so at 34, what else is on the horizon for you? Why don't you talk a little bit about the fact that you're running for office and talk about how that came to be for us?
Well, just kind of back up a little bit. The thing really, the thing we may have not shared a simple background on what we do share was that starts with the last name called Choice. We both with the choice to accept, we both with the choice to not accept certain things put forward to our goals. That was one thing that really different. There's still a choice to look at me because I have friends that do things that get me successful or make us further along in life. They really can think effective. I don't give that's what I owe it to my family, I owe it to my friends doing it. So if I was doing anything less, I wouldn't feel right. I mean, I wouldn't deal with my mom, my grandmother, my father behind that. But really, for jumping back forward to what you were saying about the pharmacy and pharmacy technician school. So the pharmacy technician school, of course, opened first. But what happened came to what started this evolution
And Dr. Chester, can you turn your volume up? There are a few people that say you sound extremely low. And so could you turn the volume up on your phone just so that they can hear you a little clearer? Just a little more? Okay, go ahead. Just a little better, yeah.
Okay, but I was going to say that the evolution of really where I am now, where I'm going, started in 2016 again fast and pray because seemingly all the influences that reinforce me following the path that was laid out for you. I wasn't satisfied. I was working in teaching. Mom been teaching going on 4 decades now, so teachers don't make money. Unfortunately, that's a true statement, I believe, especially with a lot of good teachers, young subject is accomplishment candidates to talk about. But getting back to how the journey started, so I prayed fast. God actually came to me on the 14th day. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not a professional. But very spiritual person. And on that 14th day, I got up out of bed. I drew the logo, and had the name, education. Commission for Independent Education, and within 9 months, in a process that usually takes 18 months, up to 18 months, to be able to do it in half the time. And when I say we, it was me and God. I mean, it was something that was in my soul and my spirit to do, and it just the floodgates are open, and it just literally just poured like the Red Sea. Then what happened? We got so much support and love from the community during that time that the school took off. I mean, it gave me opportunity, just like the bio said, to be intimate with people that I usually didn't have an opportunity to be intimate with. And I mean, one story in particular, and of course living in a following the course. I had some personal said that, but I saw things differently. I was affected area, and I think an area that really that didn't see that type of service, places and physical health care, who's really running it, recruits that are in a position where it was difficult financially. However, the business was growing, so you still just keep digging, and you think, okay, well maybe I was supposed to be a teacher and a pharmacist, or maybe I was just supposed to be an instructor. But what it did, it gave me an insight unlike any other. And when speaking to legislators from a local level, a state level, even a federal level, I gave them a eye view. I gave them a sample size of not what was just going on in their district or in their city or cities, but I saw it as a nationwide issue. And that's what propelled me to do this. And I truly believe that the fast was not just to do a pharmacy technician school or just to do a Newtown pharmacy. The fast put me in the position to speak for the voiceless, to represent the underrepresented, and doing that in a way that I've actually been boots on the ground, and it's not to ever toot your horn, but just privileged and thankful to be a vessel in order to do that, because in the time that we're living in now, that's what we need. I mean, President Obama, ran on hope, ran on change, and you get somebody who pretty much runs on the same thing, but it's almost like the Antichrist. Not to get too political, but I mean that's what he was running on, bringing things back to where they used to be. But I was when I was fasting, there was a quote that Steve Jobs said: "If you change the way you look at things, things you look at will change." And as bad as as racially driven and racially divided this country seems to be, I think it's that time, almost like in the '60s, of like in the Renaissance, actually in the '20s, but the '60s when we were led in some of our most tumultuous times as a country by younger folks, and not younger folks in the early 20s, but younger folks like myself. I mean, Martin Luther King was 34 when he gave that famous speech in Washington, D.C. John F. Kennedy was a young senator. His brother was a young attorney general. Even Lyndon Johnson. I mean, so many people. This was they made it their time, and it's that time now. I mean, where else do you go from open up a school to starting a business to doing this? I mean, it's all about service, and the more and more, and the older that I get, and the more I keep digging, it all comes back to bottom line serving. And what can I do? How can I best serve people? How can I best serve my purpose and do what God wants me to do? Then to serve at the highest capacity, and to strive to reach there. So that's what brings us here. That's what brings me here today. And I don't know where the path may lead, but I'm willing to follow. And want to make sure I'm doing what God wants me to do.
And so in summation, it was a God thing that got you to run for office. It wasn't your ego. It wasn't your personality. It wasn't that, oh, I just want to do this. So what you're saying is that, and we all know, like you stated, that the most difficult things are normally people who have been called to preach. They don't want to do it. They've been called to do those things. And so what I'm hearing you say is that, you're running for office because you saw a need as it relates to our health care and as it relates to relates to education. And so after fasting and praying, you decided that, I got to get into this. I got to get into this and try to make a difference. And as we know, you're being someone who's never been in politics, and for whatever reason, this is the time of those who are saying, I'm not in politics, but maybe that's what we need. We don't need career politicians. So maybe we need those people who are not career politicians, but what they are, like you said, people in the community, people who have walked the walk, who have talked the talk. And so they're here and they're trying to make a difference. And again, that first thing that you said that, going back to what you said about, the things that you've been accomplishing, although our backgrounds were completely different, to use that first word that I love is choice. And so here you are making a choice to attempt to change this society that we're living in and change the landscape of what is a big beast. And so, again, I want to just give you kudos for that and congratulate you and let you know that behind you, not only as your wife, but as a concerned citizen and what's going on in our community, in our society. So excited about what's to come as it relates to your campaign efforts and trying to impact the 5th Congressional District. So congratulations on that. And again, like you said, that it's all about choice. So thank you for sharing why politics. And so the Capstone Institute, is that still going on? What's going on with the Capstone Institute? What are your plans as it relates to your school?
Okay, well, yeah, it's still going. We're kind of shifting because I'm taking my hand off it piece by piece at a time, and we're actually moving to more of an online with a hybrid curriculum. So most of it will be online, and the students will come and meet once a week, 12 weeks, and then they'll go on the externship. So with this, we'll continue to strive to get better. We'll still have a lot of principles in place, and the professionalism and the core, the integrity of the school will not be lost by going online. It'll actually be able to be dispersed all over. So now we affect more people than just the people in Jacksonville or the people in North Florida. Now we can affect, people in Texas and even North Dakota and Wyoming and places all over that we were not able to do, we're not able to touch, but now we can. So expand the reach in that too, and again, just being very grounded. And I won't say humbled, but I'll just say grounded, because when you stay grounded, you're on a solid stand, and you stand with your chin up. Because I'm not lacking any confidence or pride in what I do, but at the same time, I realize that I'm just a vessel. This whole thing is bigger than me, and I want it to be bigger than me, because this is something that God has ordained. So it's got to be bigger than you. So it has nothing to do with me. But to your point, yeah, the capstones, we're like in transition. We're tightening up. So in 2020, a lot of things are going to be happening, and we'll be converted online, and we'll be able to touch people all across this country. And you got the internet, so you can touch people all over the world.
Exactly. Like you said, you started the capstone to impact a certain area that really needed impacting. For those of us that are from Jacksonville and know a little bit about Jacksonville, that Moncrief area, and just, you stated, that, you saw the median income in that area. And just by putting that school there, did you increase that median income, the potential of that median income, how many, by 3 times, 5 times? What was that number, Dr. Chester?
I mean, it was pretty much double, but then I forgot to add too that we're adding other certification programs in there too. So people, the next 6 months, people will be able to come and be medical assistants. They'll be able to become EKG technicians. They'll be able to become phlebotomists. So we're going to do the whole gamut on healthcare certifications. One of the reasons why I like it too is because in a situation where people are, for lack of a better term, somewhat desperate and don't have a whole lot of time to go to those 2-year schools or 4-year schools, we give them something that they can obtain within a 6-month period and completely change their life. Go from making minimum wage to a very solid, livable wage. So, to be able to spread that and do that throughout this community or throughout this country is just makes you smile. I just hope we can continue to have success and continue to grow and continue to impact as many lives as we can, because that's what it's all about.
And then it's going back to what we said about solutions, right? Solutions to a formula. If we know about formulas can be different for different things. And so, to your point, I think one thing that we've been doing in this country, we've been pushing college, to the point that we have thousands of people getting into debt, getting these advanced degrees online, masters and PhDs, and they're not going to be able to increase their earning potential 0.5% compared to what they're paying for these degrees. And we have to get back to those things that you're talking about, the trades, licensing, certification, things that are going to allow you to be able to earn a wage for your family, for yourself, for years to come, because everyone is not meant to go to college. And again, just kind of understanding that, again, when it comes to success, to your point, or to my point, that success, that formula is different for everyone. The solution to success is different for everyone. So again, super excited to see that you're going to help be creating some solutions for a larger population, that you're taking that on a national platform, because it is so needed. And we just have to keep continuing to let our young people know that, hey, it's okay if you're not going to college. We know that some of the richest people in the world didn't go to college. I have 3 degrees. I'm not working in any of those as it relates to my profession that I'm doing now. And so, again, thank you for sharing that information as it relates to the career options that you're expanding, because that is phenomenal with the pharmacy technician school, and can't wait to see how that rolls out when it rolls out on that internet platform.
Right. And
so really excited to see that. Okay, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, and just a part of that educational piece too. We talk about degrees and different things, but getting back, like you said, to those skilled workers, the skilled training, because those trainings aren't going anywhere. I'm partnering with a couple folks that do solar technician training. And
yes.
That's something that's futuristic to me. And you go from making minimum wage to $18, $19 an hour, and they're in need of those. It's different skills and different trades that people can pick up outside of just being the plumber, which is very good, outside of the HVAC or the common ones that you may know, but things that are building and are gonna be here to come. I can just see it now. You have someone who's just fresh out of high school, and they become a solar technician in the next 10, 15 years. Not probably even less than that. Now they're managing. They may even own their own company. So it's all about getting that opportunity, because that's one of the things that you get when you are raised by that village. Because I talked to the firemen. I was friends with or looked up to the postman. So all the opportunities and options are there when in some situations people seem like they don't have opportunities. They seem hopeless, but we can infuse that hope and bring that back, and that inspiration, that drive. I believe we can really do some great things for some areas and some families, and just change the whole trajectory of the lives of so many Americans that's being left behind right now.
I so agree, and so again, some solutions, some of those professional puzzles that are out there. It's one of those things that is just, again, stop focusing on college and get back to, like you said, those skilled trades. And it made me think about this guy that I met, and I can't remember his last name. I just remember Ron, but he worked with Burris. And Burris is a cold storage place here in Jacksonville, and he has a high school diploma. He's making 6 figures. And he talked about the fact that people don't understand how these jobs exist, and how, we've been sabotaging our young people and even some of our adults. We have all these people going back and getting these degrees, and they're not increasing their employment. Their wages. They're not increasing their own earning potential. And it's because, again, I'll go back to what I said last week when I did an introduction. We get so busy into comparing and contrasting ourselves to other people as it relates to our success. And when I teach on the collegiate level, when I speak across the country, one of the things that I always impress upon people is that success is personal. Success is subjective. It is not what someone else says success is. And what people have to do is start defining that for themselves, and stop letting society and stop letting TV and media and all these different things define what success is for them. I don't know how many people I know who have gone back to college and gotten these degrees, and they're not making any money. I have 3 degrees. Thank the Lord, I did not pay for, I wasn't supposed to pay for 3 of them, but I lost my scholarship in undergrad. That's another story. But my master's and my PhD were paid for. And so I have 3 degrees, but I don't have a lot of student debt. And it saddens me being a realtor and trying to help people buy homes, and a lot of them are knocked out because of student debt. How we have to account for that student debt when it comes to their debt to income ratios. And I have to tell them, hey, the lender said because you owe this amount of money, now you're DTI. You're out of buying a home. And so, again, those professional puzzles, we just got to make sure, guys, that we're not comparing and contrasting ourselves to others, and that when we're deciding what our solution to success is, that it is personal and that it's based on what we want to accomplish, and understanding that there are so many different puzzles to solutions. So many solutions to success. And so don't allow other people to define that for you. And so that is your choice. And with that choice, what I've been hearing Dr. Chester talk a lot about is, and it's something I wrote about when I talked about success in a book that I co-authored, is that most times people don't make a decision. Choosing is making a decision. Most people get caught up in, I don't know, I'm not sure, because to make a choice to decide means that you have to move towards action. And so what a lot of people do is they straddle the fence. They stay in that, that gray area. I'm not sure. I don't know. I just don't know what I want to do. And so the one thing that I feel like I said, I love that word choice. Make a decision, decide, take action, move forward. And so that is like so important. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say something that you touched on going back was, and you keep reiterating your success. One of the things that I can say helped me, and one of the things I like to get people to do is to find yourself. I usually start off, mentoring sessions or sessions when I'm speaking to folks, and I say, well, the first step is to find yourself, because you're saying, and you just said you let people or let society define what you like or who you are. There's, not to quote him too much, but he did say some things before he went completely off his rocker. But I remember Kanye West in one of his songs said, "There's 1,000 yous and only one of me." And if everybody can take that and realize it's 1,000 yous and only one of me, I can only be the best me. I can't be the best Dr. Melissa Chester. I can't be the best Lil Wayne. I can't be the best Barack Obama, but I can be the best Albert Chester. And how do I do that? And that's finding me. So many people don't know themselves. You have to find yourself. What makes you happy? What makes you get up in the morning? Because, at one point, being at Walgreens and, making some pretty good money, I still wasn't happy. That wasn't waking me up in the morning. I wasn't glad to get up. But now, going to, to teach at Capstone, to go to meet people, my day is so fulfilling now, and I'm not doing what I was doing before, but it's fulfilling me, and I found myself. And when I find myself, I found my destiny. And finding yourself is also finding God, and finding that thing that keeps you up at night, or wakes you up in the morning. And we have to, in order to be successful, I believe you do. It starts with you. I heard a quote before. It said, "God does not put your future in a book. He does not put your future in front of you. God put your future where only you can find it, and that's inside of you." And that's that whole success. That's when it starts. And when you do that, and when I did that, everything else pretty much took care of itself. From the naysayers to trying to be something that I wasn't, to worrying about what kind of car I'm driving, to worry about anything that was not dealing with my purpose in finding myself. When you find that truth, and you walk in it, you find yourself, you find that truth, you find your destiny, and life is everything that God promised it to be for you. And it may not come with 7 figures in the bank, or it may, but at the same time, the fulfillment that you get, the fulfillment that I was able to get in helping change some lives, in helping, something as simple as, a good word, or just being something, or being a movement that inspired folks. It was just, it almost swell up with tears versus pride when, you got, a kid come by and say, "Well, sir, how'd you do this?" Or you got somebody your age and say, "I wish you could show me how you did this." Or you got, a guy that just retired from the fire department came by. It was like, "Man, you inspired me. I'm about to open up my own ice cream shop." Or, I'm just an older person. I'm just so glad you're in the neighborhood. I'm just so glad you're doing something positive. All that stuff is deposits in the spiritual bank, and they keep you going. And that's that success piece. That's the success piece. And if I could leave a couple jewels with anybody who may be listening or may catch this on the recording is that find yourself first. And in finding yourself, that will help you determine what your success is, and where you want to go. Because we have so much information now that we're inundated, and it just becomes, like trash. So many distractions. Eliminate the distractions and find yourself, and you'll find your success.
Agreed. And so, again, just to sum up what you said, just knowing you, I think that is one thing, again, like you said, when it comes to figuring out what your success formula is, that's another thing, choice. And then, again, introspection, looking at who are you as a person and being real about what you find out, being real about who you are. If you're working in customer service and you don't really like people, what would you like to do? You mentioned some things about, being true to self. And one thing that people must start doing is like you said, just be honest about who you are as a person and find your passion and then find a way to monetize that. I think that's one thing that people don't do well either, is that most times they're just looking for the monetization. Like you mentioned, the fact that you were a pharmacist, but you didn't enjoy it. Although you were making six figures, that was not your passion. You've always known that you wanted to teach. And so once you opened your pharmacy technician school, there was more joy in that path than there was in making six figures. And so what we have to do when we're looking for our success formula is make sure that we're being true to self, not to mom, not to dad, not to society, but who we are, and being honest about who we are and finding out what is it that I want to do and then figuring out how to monetize that. Because like you said, with technology, with everything at our fingertips, you can almost monetize everything in the world. It's amazing. We see people that create YouTube channels and become wage earners and making six figures from just creating a YouTube channel. So it is, again, about finding out who you are and then, again, making that choice to just decide, to decide to move forward. So, yes, definitely agree with those things that you said, Dr. Chester. Thank you so much for sharing those jewels. Another thing you said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't know that you completed that point.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I look at objects, I look at animals, and it takes my mind places. After just that quote, when you see something, you change the way you look at things look at them change. And I say, be a battery. And people are like, what does that mean? Be a battery. What does it take for a battery to work? You have to have a positive charge and a negative charge. You have too much negative, the battery doesn't work. You have too much positive, the battery doesn't work. And that's kind of how, I look at life. I look at life to be a battery. You hear songs that, the sunny days are special because of the rainy days. And when you talk about, that drive, that determination, when you're doing something that only God has put into you, people are going to be negative. And you have to take that negative and you have to use it just like a battery uses it. It's people that pat you on your back and tell you you're doing a great job. There's people that's going to doubt you and tell you not to do it. But you use it, and that gives you that balance, and that cranks that battery up. That's what it does to me. I treat it like a battery, because who would have thought that someone so close to you or to me would doubt, something that you want to do, something that's in your heart, something that God told you to do, something that you're passionate about. Just like you said, this isn't mom or dad or grandma or anyone else's dream, so they can't understand it, and you don't have time to explain it. You just have to choose that and listen to yourself and listen to God speaking to you and move along. But I would encourage people also to be that battery. So that's why whenever, I take good just like I take the bad, and I appreciate both. If it's critical, if it's critiquing, I take it just as it was positive and uplifting. But you need those both to give you that balance. There's too much positivity, you're gonna fall off the scale. You being a Libra, of course, you understand scale. So if you're getting too much praise, that's not good. And if you're getting too much negativity, that's not good. So we have to find that happy medium and be comfortable in that balance. And again, that goes back to that village, because you get some good people, you get some bad people, but you understand that's what makes the world great. That's what gives you that balance. So I would encourage people to enjoy when someone pats you on the back, and enjoy even when they may doubt you, because now that gave you some more energy. Now I have to do it. Now I'm bound to it because you said I couldn't do it. So when they said I couldn't, I was too short to play quarterback. When they said, at my high school we never go to the playoffs, we went to the playoffs. When just getting more personal, when I had to file bankruptcy because of things that were out of my control. I mean, you never recover from that. When when the IRS came, when some people were doing some things with our taxes they shouldn't have been doing, and we overcame that. I mean, when you go to apply for a school, and every school there at the podium has 5, 6, 7 people, and I'm sitting at the podium by myself and saying, people said before you can't do it, but you're sitting there and you overcome it. You still doing, you keep pushing. To open up a pharmacy, no loans, no debt, nothing. Every bank in Jacksonville, every bank that you can think of said no, but God says yes, but you use that. I mean, you're bound to it, and then get into a situation where you want to continue to serve and you listen to God. You're going against all these folks, and some of the politicians that you've been knowing since you've grown up, they're doubting you, they're telling you not to do it, but you still just use that. Now you have to do it. That just bound you to do it. You just continue to break down obstacles, continue to win, and it just feeds on itself. So no becomes your vitamin. Doubt becomes vitamin D. Criticism becomes your vitamin C. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But you got an attitude to keep moving, to keep going, to keep pushing, because it's bigger. It's bigger than what they doubt. It's bigger than what the doubters say. And then I don't even read the press clippings. I don't consider myself successful because I'm looking at myself 10 years from now. That's the person that I want to be. That's who's successful. And then when 10 years from now, I'm gonna be 10 years later. That he's successful or she's successful. That's what I'm looking at. So I never read in the press clippings. Never consider myself successful. Just someone who grinds, and just a regular old Joe that didn't accept what society or what statistics or whomever may have said, or may have calculated, or whatever. But that's what we continue to do, and I believe something like that, a story, a movement like that, is something that has to be infectious, and for people to know that it's possible. You know what I mean? Coming from where you came from, how magical, how inspirational would it have been for kids just to think it's possible. It's possible. I may not know how I'm going to do it. I'm a novice at this little game. I was a novice entrepreneur, but we did it. You know what I mean? You sit in a situation where you don't know your dad or your mom or whoever, but to believe and have that hope and know that it's possible. How just to hold on to that, hold on that possibility, man. It just, I hate to sound like I'm preaching, but it just, if I remember, it wakes me up in the middle of the night, it wakes me up early in the morning, and I just want that to be infectious, that movement to be, infectious. Quick little spiel. Sorry about that.
Yes, totally agreed, Dr. Chester. Thank you again for those. I love that you said be a battery and use that negative and that positive to get a that positive. And that reminds me of something I read today when I was reading my affirmations, and it just talked about the fact of stop. It said life is not happening to you. Life is responding to you. And so I constantly, like you're saying, be a battery. I constantly tell people that don't be a thermometer. Thermometers, they gauge the temperature. They tell you what the temperature is by telling you, hey, okay, it's hot in here, so it's hot. Be a thermostat. Set the temperature. You be the person that says what the room is, what the energy is, what you can and cannot accomplish, etc. So love that. Be a battery. I'm going to have to add that one to my being a thermostat and not a thermometer. And like you said, just, don't ever let anybody stop you from accomplishing your goals. And your goals are your goals. They're not your families. They're not your spouses. They're yours. And just being true to oneself about how and what your goals are, how you can accomplish those and what they are. And so with everything that we've talked about tonight, I'm going to talk about this last concept. You and I were talking about this before we bid the people adieu. And everything we're talking about goes back to something that I also wrote about when I co-authored the book, mindset. Mindset, Dr. Chester, because you talked about the fact that, we do have very different upbringings, but we both have been successful. And again, our success is different because our success formula is different. And our solution to success is different because what we define as success is different. But the one thing that successful people all have in common is mindset. And so we know that when it comes to mindset, mindset is one of the most important things in the world. It reminds me of the quote, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right. And it reminds me of the story about the circus elephant. And I know really quickly, if you guys, we've all been to the circus and we see this massive elephant, and we see this elephant is able to be controlled by a little tiny rope on his or her ankle. And the reason that is because of conditioning. They've broken that elephant's mindset. When that elephant is a baby elephant and he or she is being trained, they take a rope and tie it around that elephant's ankle, and they put a stake in the ground. And so the elephant first learns that they can only go so far. And so as a baby, when they get to a certain distance from their rope, it tugs them back. But in addition to it tugging them back, there are like spikes in that rope that stick them in their flesh. And so what it not only prevents them because they're weak at that point physically, but it imparts pain in them. And so when that pain happens, and so they keep going through that, and as they're getting older and older, now they've been conditioned, and their mindset is that, if I try to go beyond this rope, I'm gonna experience pain. So that when they become the massive animal that they are, they believe that they cannot just tug their leg like just a little bit and break that rope because of mindset. And so everyone's success formula, no matter what it is, should incorporate mindset. And so what were you going to say, Dr. Chester?
I was going to say, again, just talking about animals with things. I have, of course, an eagle tattooed on me, but eagles and the lions are my favorite animals. But, in studying the lion isn't the smartest. He's by far not the biggest because we talk about the elephant. He's not the wisest, he's not the fastest, but what makes the lion the king of the jungle? What makes the lion the king of the jungle is the attitude. He looks at the elephant. He sees dinner. When the elephant looks at the lion, he quivers in fear, even though the lion could probably easily crush the lion. I mean, the elephant can easily crush the lion, but it's the attitude. And just like you said, it goes back to that attitude. What do you believe? What do you believe you can do? How do you think you can accomplish? You have to believe it. It's the attitude. It's that mindset. So, and that's only something that that you can have. And if no one can give you that, no one, because if they give it to you, they can take it away. But you have to have that attitude. Correct. That you're going to make it no matter what. When you look at something, you have to say, I'm attacking this thing. This thing is not bigger than. I remember you were nervous about it, but when you were taking your test, you're really studying for it. I was like, too many people have passed this test for this test to shake you. This test was written for you to pass it, and that could change your whole outlook on things. I mean, people talk about tests and things being culturally biased, and some of them are to a certain extent, but there's a right answer in that. But if you go to something defeated already, you've lost. But if you go in there with attitude, the right answer is here. Success is here. I can make 100 on this test. I can do this. I can attain this because of your mindset, because of your attitude. You have to have the attitude. You have to have the right.
Yes, and attitude is a response from, like you said, mindset. Because what happens is once you start conditioning your mindset to understand that, it's going to be exemplified through your attitude. Like you're saying, you're so correct about that. And so mindset is not something that just happens overnight. It is something that people have to practice on and affirming it, just telling yourself over and over and starting to believe it and turning elephants into hors d'oeuvres. When there is a task at hand, taking small chunks of that elephant to make yourself a winner, to make yourself successful. And stop looking at losses as losses. Another thing that I always say when I'm teaching, when I'm speaking, is that, and I don't remember where I first saw it at, but that I never lose. Either I win or I learn. And so people have to get out of the habit of, defeat, losing. You don't lose, you learn. You learn one way not to do it the next time. When you look at all the successful people in the world, all of them have failed numerous times. I mean, went bankrupt. But the difference in them and us is mindset, right? They didn't look at it as a loss. They looked at it as a learning lesson. And so, again, to your point, that mindset, that attitude is just so important. So if you're taking notes and you're writing down, you're trying to figure out what your success formula is, some things that you want to make sure that you define for yourself tonight once the program is over is, one, what is your mindset? Talk about what do you believe? Again, Dr. Chester and I talked about being honest about who you are, what you are. What do you want to accomplish? What is your passion? Find a way to monetize that passion. Also looking at choice, make a decision. Stop straddling the fence. Stop waiting. Wait broke the wagon. What are you waiting on? Take action today. Make it happen. Take charge. Do all those things. And in closing, Dr. Chester, is there anything that you would like to add to some of those tidbits that we've kind of shared and kind of talked about as it relates to creating your success formula?
I would like to close with this poem. Let me see if I can think of it.
And can you say it just a little louder? Again, you are low. I don't know why.
Fading off a little bit. Okay, does it sound better now?
Yes.
Okay. One of my favorite speakers, authors, Les Brown. He had this. I guess it's his poem or something, but I wanted to commit it to memory, and it was something that I'd like to hear on a daily and often when it becomes, because he always talked about being greater than successful and the best, and this poem right here just speaks volumes to that, and just want to shout that out and say it. I don't know if people hear it, or I know I'm kind of low right now, but it goes like, hold on. He said, if you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it, and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, if you simply go after that thing you want with all of your capacity, strength, and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold, poverty, famine, nor gall, sickness, nor pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you beseech and beset it, with the help of God you will get it. And that's a poem by the great Les Brown that I just love, and I just hope that can just echo in so many to drive them to seek success, to seek a better life, and take the ups and the downs, just like you take the celebrations and the parades, and ball it all up and keep moving forward, keep striving, never stop working, never be satisfied, and live your life to the absolute fullest, and don't leave any stone unturned, and make it infectious. Make it infectious. Never let your success be on the backs of someone else. If you're truly going to be successful, or want to be successful, true success is not only when you are doing well, but you're showing other people how to do well too.
Yes. Give back. Yes. Definitely say that again. That's something that we have been failing to do is make sure that we're sharing that knowledge, sharing that information. We've become so competitive as a society, as a nation. And could you just repeat what you just said, Dr. Chester?
Okay, and I was going to say that, and I realized this later on with much after my days of playing in competition, is not between you and someone else. The competition is within, because everything else is just scenery. How can I be the best that I can be? I was talking to someone about a strategy one time, and they were saying, well, you need to attack them when they're weak. I mean, if it was war, yeah, I understand, but see, I want everybody to be at their best, because that's going to make everybody better. At my best, when we're competing, we're going to each other. It's going to make you better. And going back to that again, success is not just when you're successful, but success is when you're helping other people become successful. Because at quarterback, I wanted you to be at your best, because I don't want any excuses when I beat your butt. I want you to be at your absolute best. That's the same thing that we're doing now with the school, with the pharmacy, with the radio. I want you to be at your absolute best. I'm gonna be at mine, and we're gonna see how the chips and how the score rolls out. But we need to be at your absolute best. I want you to be at your absolute best. I want you to be at your absolute best.
So thank you, Dr. Chester. And so in closing, again, make sure that you're addressing your mindset. Make sure that you're writing down who are you. Make sure you're doing that introspection, and know that success is about you. It's personal. It's subjective. Know that competition is only with you. Competition is within. Like you said, everything and everyone else is just scenery, and just understand that and know that, hey, there is a formula for success for all of us. We can all win. And when we're winning, give back, right? I read something one time that said our purpose in life is to find our passion, and then you're supposed to give that back. You're supposed to give that back. So anything that you get, you're supposed to return to this earth. You're supposed to return to the atmosphere. And so make sure that when you guys are succeeding, that you are sharing that success with others. You're sharing that blueprint, and we must do that more and more, and make sure we're sharing with others. And so I'm going to say thank you again, Dr. Chester. Tune in next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for our next guest. And again, our next guest will be sharing personal, professional, and relationship success. They'll be talking about their solutions to their success puzzle. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Have a great night, Facebook world, and everybody that's on the internet. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Dr. Chester, for being our first guest.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you for tuning in to Empower Media, the station dedicated to your success. Join us next week as Doc speaks with authors, educators, entrepreneurs, leaders, and speakers about their journeys to success.